I keep moving this off the workbench to make room for new projects, and each time I do, it taunts me. Capitalist debil. If you recall from this first video, I made an asinine VFD transformer contraption to make a 36 volt, 200 hertz, 3-phase power supply, as per the nameplate specifications. The waveform it created was dog poop, and the tool got so hot it could have doubled as a Siberian hand warmer, so I threw out the VFD in a fit of off-camera rage and bravely gave up. Enough people commented that this desk ornament could create the power I need, and while I'm happy to ignore one wacko in the comment section, 20 wackos in the comment section, might be worth hearing out. I guess I just never considered one of these since, alternators output DC. I need 3-phase AC, not DC. Totally spaced on the name of this thing. It's an alternator. I know they make AC if you remove the rectifier here, but I had no idea that they made 3-phase AC. Even better, the output voltage is adjustable just by changing the DC input voltage to the rotor. Even better, the frequency is adjustable by changing the RPM. All I need to do is to go upstream, removing all components until I get to those stator windings. Lose the voltage regulator, which regulates the voltage, and lose the full wave bridge rectifier diodes, which convert that 3-phase AC into DC. Then I should have a nice little 3-phase Jenny. I need to determine if I want an alternator wound for Delta or Y configuration. I can't hack up this alternator. It does work great, and it's Y wound. But my grandmother gave this to me before she died, so it's sentimental. I'll need to go to the junkyard and scope out my options. I'm not just going to grab the first crusty thing I see that's easy to get. This time, I'm going to be picky. So it's time for a trip to Mecca. Pretty weak bluff, if you ask me. God, I haven't been to this location in years. They have a vintage section now. I'm gonna need some more time here than I anticipated. I'm gonna be geeking out for a while, so if you want to get right back to work, skip to here. Whole lot of hearses. Holy hell. And it's not even all Malaise era junk. 62 Tempest. There's an old MGB hardtop. Mark IV Continental, there's 2 of those here. Nana's station wagon, Dodge Daytona. Old Dodge Coupe. Whatever that is. A moonshiner mobile. Whatever that is. The Zimmerman or a kit car or something. 70s Mustang. Ooh, an old VW. Ooh, an old VW. Ooh, an old VW. Oh, an old VW. Whoa, look, it's an old VW. Oh, an old VW. Ooh, an old VW. Ah, a nice old VW. Whoa, is that an old VW? Ah, a nice old VW. Random dual shaft motor. Is it? Ah, single phase. No good. They have school buses and campers. I need this hot water heater for Lazy Acres. They're like $400 new. I have the same oven in my camper, but it doesn't work because that thermocouple's dead. I don't have time for this. Ford Motor Company. One of 3 car makers I will not touch with a 10-foot pole. But in this case, I think the alternator is perfect. Why won't you start? The reason I picked this one is 1, shiny, 2, according to Google, it's Y-wound, and 3, the mounting bolts are perpendicular, so it'll be easier to remove and mount on the bench. I would rather get run over by a Dodge than drive a Ford. I f***ing hate them. My parents had a 98 Windstar growing up, and when that transmission blew, we had to scrap our Disney World trip to pay for it. The next year, the transmission in our 94 Taurus blew, and we had to cancel the trip again. The Windstar and the Taurus each ate 2 transmissions by 80,000 miles, so we only had enough money left to go to Branson, Missouri. We started buying Grand Caravans after that. Not to mention all that Henry Ford Third Reich stuff, but I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Adios, paraíso. Alright, we're back at base. And off comes the bridge rectifier. Oh no. Is this all rivets? I hate you, Ford! Pry it up, little darling, pry it up. Where are those goddamn cutters? Oh. I'm a little concerned that there's 6 pairs here. That's usually indicative of delta winding. I can find out for sure because delta should have 3 strictly monogamous mated pairs. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. And no polygamy going on here. Shit. This thing's delta. Oh well. Should be fine, if not ideal. Whee! Soldering A1 to B1, B2 to C1, and then I'll do C2 to A2. I'm going to need to feed DC voltage to these brushes. That DC voltage is what turns this useless clump of copper into a live electromagnet. So I'm going to cut these wires and hook them up to the old Heath kit. I've got 2 windings hooked up to Rasputin here. Set the Heath kit for 12 volts. We're live. Anything? I'm an idiot. I soldered my extension leads to the tabs that went to that old Exploder's wiring harness, not the wires that actually go to the brushes. It's a good thing I cut them almost flush so I would never be able to solder wires to them again. Alright, I soldered onto the nubs. Hopefully that holds. You can really feel it working when I apply power to the windings. It gets way harder to turn. Slip rings engaged. Five volt is kind of lame for how hard it is to turn, so I cut all the windings free. power on. Little bit of resistance, not nearly as much. Maybe it's Y after all. Let's find out. Why not? We got 9 volts. My power supply only outputs 3 amps at 12 volts. I'm wondering if that's not enough, so I got this mean bastard here to excite the rotor winding instead. Same thing, 9 volts. Possibly not enough. Shut up! Sorry about the crickets. They'll die off by November. Possibly not enough RPM out of the old Milwaukee here. Yeah, 1400 RPM under load. If we assume a 2-to-1 pulley ratio, that's like an engine idling at 700 RPM. Probably below design spec. Let's fix that. Got this old HVAC evacuation pump that blew a head gasket, but motor works great. 3300 RPM to boot. Somebody killed their battery by dead shorting it over an alternator. RPM test. That's pretty good. Let's try under load. You can hear it bog down as I increase the juice. I think that's all this motor will give. Need more torque so I can spin this faster. I had an idea in the shower last night while I was lathering myself up with soap. You know, real warm and slippery, all over my naked, hairless body. That's when all my thoughts come to me. Anyway, technically this alternator doesn't have 6 stator wires. If you recall, it actually has 6 pairs for 12 total. That means it has 6 total windings, 3 opposite pairs, all wired independently of each other. That means if I'm smart, which, I could theoretically wire this in delta or Y. It also means that I can set these windings either to be in parallel with their mate, doubling current capacity, or series. And as we all know, series, like this, doubles your voltage. I accidentally bought the most versatile alternator possible. Will it get me to 36 volts? Let's find out. Okay, so I have both wires for all 6 windings identified with extension leads, soldered, and labeled for future reference. I just love doing this. I have purple team seriesed together with the output wire here and the other wire going to the center of the star. Orange team is seriesed here. This is my output wire and the other wire going to the center of the star. Yellow series here, output wire here, other wire going to the center of the star. If I put one test lead there, I should get the same AC output voltage to all three output wires. Engage. Exciter activate. Increasing current. Oh, she's struggling. Looks like 24.5 from Team Yellow, Orange, and Purple. Let's check frequency. 275 hertz. Ah, so close. If I reduce current to the exciter, the motor spins faster, but my frequency goes even higher. Remember, 200 hertz is the target. So I need lower RPM, but a more powerful motor. If this works, with God as my witness, I will convert to communism. I am not man enough for this. Bit too much mass rotating at the end, too far from my hand. Take two. Yeah, she's bogging down. Only 16 volts and 133 hertz. The bad news is, this lacks the Yaichke. But at least I don't have to convert and the government won't own my land. You know, unless I stop paying the property taxes. I was able to get close to 400 hertz with this motor, so I was thinking about splitting up the windings and only running 3 windings, which should cut my frequency in half. But that's going to cut my voltage in half too, because I no longer have any windings in series. So y'all were right. This can make 36 volts 3-phase. But to do so, it has to be spinning too fast to make 200 hertz. Bit of a catch-22, I think. I never read the book. But that wasn't the only idea I saw mentioned in the comments a lot. Here's a brushless DC motor controller, commonly used for scooters, hoverboards, and various RC gadgets. Never messed with these before, but it says 36 volts 3-phase. I take this little Harbor Freight key knife through airport security all the time and never a single problem, but you try to take it into one Wiggles concert and they ban you for life. So there's a parenting hack for you dads out there who don't want to go to any more Wiggles concerts. It seems simple, but I've never touched one of these controllers before. There's battery positive and negative in, 3 phases out, a forwards and reverse switch, and you got your speed control knob here. I've got the scope fired up to demonstrate my concerns with this plan. See, these controllers, they don't vary frequency. They're pulse width modulators. They change how long the peak of the waveform lasts, but not the number of peaks per second. And for such a small high-frequency motor, I think that's going to be a problem, and it's dead. Okay, we're back. It's weird how it's pulsing twice like that. Maybe not compatible with my scope. And it's dead again. Remember how I said these analog meters are great for watching small signal changes? Let's see if we can see what's happening mechanically. Same double pulsing action. And it's dead. It's dead. It keeps coming back on power cycle, so I'm guessing this controller has overvoltage protection built in. The circuitry might just need a load to work properly. What do you say we give it a big, juicy load? I've got an M18 battery that'll put out way more current than my benchtop power supply. 3 phases are hooked up, and I know it's only 18 volts, nominally 20, but it should make something happen at least. Not quite. I'm seeing that weird double pulsing too, which is interesting. Stalled. She doesn't like reverse. Oh, hey, it's running. I mean, no balls, but it is a 36 volt pool running on 18 volts. It works. It smells a little hot, though. It smells a little real hot. I could put 2 18-volt batteries in series for a perfect 36 volts, but these are more like 20 volts each, and according to the Amazon reviews, 40 volts tends to fry this motor controller. So we're going to try this. M12 plus M18 should give me about M32. Pretty close. Definitely trying harder. It's a sensorless motor, so I'm not expecting a ton of startup torque here. This is alarmingly hot. Ah, crap baskets. The smoke has literally been let out. Alright, so pulse width modulation is not a replacement for frequency modulation, and now this winding is most likely cooked. So I'm going to do what I should have done from the get-go and 3D print a sleeve to adapt it. Damn, this is hot. I'm going to 3D print a sleeve to adapt a motor from the mountain of dead power tools I've accumulated. Ow, hot. You've ruined my last YouTube video, you annoying motherfucker. Ain't chirping so loud now, are ya, punk? You might remember this winding defeated me last time. I couldn't get it out without destroying it, but now that I've destroyed it, I think I can get it out without fear of destroying it. Here's another ghost of videos past. I'm using an American World War II aircraft riveter to pound out a Soviet motor winding. There's a historical metaphor in there somewhere, but it's way past my bedtime and my brain is fried. Well, it's successfully destroying the winding, but it's clearly just a super tight interference fit. Gonna have to be careful not to crack the aluminum. I was able to cut through it, so I'm just going to try to pry it inwards and shrink it. Oh, well, at least I can get to the winding now. Yeah, that's a welded steel core. That was never going to come out in one piece. I actually feel really bad about this one. Such a cool looking tool, but they clearly designed it to never be usable outside of the factory it was intended for. You'd have to say they succeeded. Maybe I could Illuma weld the case back together? To be honest, I have enough wall hangers already. I actually considered scrapping this whole video project at this point, just out of shame. I don't like hiding my mistakes, but broadcasting them on the internet is another thing entirely. Because closure is important, I'm going to try one last thing. Something so stupid, it just might get me killed. This Yankee ain't f***ing around anymore. If there's one energy source that unites the world, be it anarchist, capitalist, Buddhist, socialist, it's dinosaur blood. I pulled this out of my neighbor's junk pile where it had sat for years and tossed it into my junk pile where it sat for years. Made in Japan, so it should fire right up. Holy mother of compression. Ah, crap. Kill switch is gone. Ow! Ow! Damn you, Pavlov. Gen Z will never know. When the last one near me had their clearance sale, I went in with a pallet. Let's see how she rip 'em. It's over 9,000! Just like we did to the gravitational constant in remedial physics, we're going to round that to 10. But will that give us the proper input speed? Let's check the gearing. 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, and 13. 13 to 1 gearing. The tool's rated, or was rated, for 750 RPM. So 750 times 13. I think we're in business, comrade. Cue the music.
Полна, коробушка есть и сицы.
Let's see how it works with cruise control set for 50%. Right off the bat, couple issues. The exhaust is pointed directly at me. The ergonomics are not ideal. Carpal tunnel is already setting in. My eyes are stinging and burning with two-stroke smoke. Definitely should do this outdoors. Plenty of torque though. Perfect. It runs these lag bolts in just fine. And that's only half throttle. I don't want to give it full throttle because I'm already suffocating in here. Ah! Almost done. I gotta keep going. So the Russians in the comment section will think I'm weak. Flawless. I'm sorry if you feel this video wasted your time. If it's any consolation, it wasted entire days of my life. No regrets. I'm not going to say it looks cooler than it did before, but it definitely looks as cool as, at least. I mean, I'll take that praise from myself. Thanks for watching. It means a lot.